Welcome to my channel. This is Bruce the Boss, and today's topic, the possibility of COVID re-education camps for U.S. citizens as discussed by CDC Director Rochelle Walensky. All right, but before we get into it, please don't forget to smash on that subscribe button, like this video, comment on this video, help beat the YouTube algorithm and having conversations and dialogues like this. Be on the forefront and not be suppressed as what they're trying to do. And your activity on my channels, on my videos, your interactions, your comments, your likes go a long way in beating the YouTube algorithm and getting my video, as well as others like this, higher up on the recommendation and or notifications. Also, don't forget to smash on that notification bell so you can get notified of my latest content. And again, please go ahead and smash on that subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed. Now, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky appeared on Fox News' program with Chris Wallace this past Sunday, where she had to say this.
So we believe it is very important to get these people vaccinated. There is a plan, should these people not want to be vaccinated, towards education and counseling to get people the information they need so that they are feeling comfortable in getting vaccinated.
So here's what's worrisome about that comment, and that is the fact that she said that there is a plan in place to educate, or in other words, re-educate these individuals who are not taking the jab. Now, I'm not even going to call these people, myself included, vaccine hesitant. Not hesitant, we're just not doing it. We're just not taking it for a variety of reasons. Most importantly is we don't feel as though we need to. It's not required, among other things. A lot of us have done the research, looked into it, and realized and made the decision, you know what? This pandemic is very much real. However, this virus seems to be attacking specific demographics that may not include all of us. It doesn't hit everyone equally. It's not like AIDS, it's not like Ebola. When you're Ebola, it doesn't matter your age, health, you had a 50-50 chance of surviving. 50-50. We're seeing very specific from the CDC's own research. Over the course of March of 2020 to March of 2021, the average age of those who were even hospitalized, let alone died, was 66. And anyone who knows math, in order to get a median age of 66, the overwhelming majority of individuals have to be in their 60s or above, others in their 50s, not a whole lot. In fact, a very minuscule number of those in their 30s and 20s and their teens and younger. And we also know from numbers that over 78% of all hospitalizations were those who were overweight and obese, with over 90% of all deaths related to COVID occurring in countries where weight and obesity were an issue. So if you don't fall into a lot of those demographics, in CDC's own study there that took place from March 2020 to March of 2021, aside from the median age being 66, the top leading causes of other hospitalizations included comorbidities like high blood pressure, diabetes, hypertension, asthma, COPD. Again, if you don't check off a lot of those boxes, you are not at risk. And a lot of people have decided, you know what? I do not need to get this. Basically. And then there are others who probably should have, based upon the combination of their age being old in their 50s, 60s, and a lot of them overweight. But at the same time, it's their decision not to get it. That should be totally up to them. And then there are those who are then trying to make the argument, well, you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for others. But that doesn't necessarily work out because we're still seeing massive outbreaks in highly vaccinated populations. I've already talked about Israel and how they're seeing the highest number of cases than they've ever seen at any point in time over the last year and a half, despite having over 80% of their population fully vaccinated. Let me mention some others. So for instance, the UK seeing 86% of their population who are 12 and older fully jabbed, and yet they're seeing a surge now. Singapore with over 80% of their total population, regardless of age. So that's a high concentration of young adults and elderly fully vaccinated, and much like Israel, seeing the highest surge in cases that they've ever had at any point in time over the last 18, 19 months. Vermont, and here in the United States, the most vaccinated state in the country of the US, and yet they're seeing a surge and a rise in cases and hospitalizations. Duke University, Harvard University, practically fully vaccinated, and yet seeing outbreaks amongst the vaccinated. You can still get it, you can still spread it, even with getting the jab. Even Neil Cavuto of Fox Business kind of revealed that, despite the fact that he's been fully jabbed, rightfully so, due to his pre-existing medical conditions and their fights, definitely much needed, he still got it. Likely from someone else who was also fully vaccinated, based upon likelihood of he was mostly only interacting with those who were fully vaccinated. That's likely who he got it from. So you can still get it and spread it. And CDC even did a leak back in, was it July, August? I did a video on that. You can check that out, regarding the fact that the viral load is exactly the same. So it makes sense. One of the other things that is frightening is that they have been saying the quiet things out loud for the longest time, and they have come true. So some people may dismiss it as you're being crazy, conspiracy theorists. However, a lot of the quote unquote conspiracy theories that they try to pass off, like, oh, vaccine mandate, that's not going to be a thing. It's definitely going to be up to the individual to make that choice. Oh, they're not going to require you to have a vaccine passport to travel. That's just crazy talk. And now you need the jab just to be able to work. Another quiet thing they said out loud, and I did a video on this a couple of months ago, feel free to go check that out, when on CNN you had people like de Blasio or Lena, one of their medical experts, talking about making life a living hell for those who do not get the jab. How they gave them the stick and the carrot, and now they were about ready to take the carrot away and just give them the stick. They're literally saying, hey, we are going to do things, make your life nearly impossible until you bend the knee. At first, you would think they were just limited to not being able to travel, not be able to enjoy the spoils of a city, like going to the movies, eating out at a restaurant. They're now literally making those who do not get the jab second-class citizens, to not only be able to not be able to do much of anything, but also including preventing you from being able to make a living and work. And what's really dangerous about this is that we're seeing a lot of the worst of that sliding scale, or should I say slippery slope, happening in other countries as well, like Australia. So don't think it can't come here. In fact, I've done a video on it, and I want to thank for all of the thousands of individuals who have already seen the video, watched it, liked it, and are joined to my channel as a result. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I talked about the literal COVID concentration camp that they are building, and they're only currently right now 8 weeks away from completing about 30 to 40% of it. They should be opening it in December 2021 to be able to at least accommodate 25% of the facility space. And people at first talked about conspiracy theory and said, no, you don't understand what's going on here in Australia. Right now we have a system of health hotels. So for those who are traveling back into the country or back to their particular state, will be automatically whisked from the airport straight to these health hotels to be part of a 2-week quarantine to check to make sure that you don't have it and that you don't spread it amongst the population. And if you're good after those first 2 weeks, you're back on your merry way, as if it was just limited to travelers. Not even a week later, I caught a clip of Sky 9 News there in Australia of a man named Gabriel, which I did a video on that, feel free to check it out, not traveling, has been home for as far as the eye can see or know. I believe he was like a personal trainer, a business owner, who was just trying to do the responsible thing because he is around people, around clients, wanted to get tested, hadn't heard peep regarding his results. And then next thing you know, with the news camera, the police show up and he is dragged out and has no choice but to go with the police to one of these health hotels from his home. A man who was otherwise perfectly fit, healthy, no symptoms, and by the way, never heard peep about his results until the cops came knocking on his door telling him, oh, you tested positive for COVID, you have to come with us. So much for these health hotels just being limited to travelers. In Australia, you're at risk of not having any choice in terms of how you quarantine, whether you are traveling or just test positive while at home. And so once these COVID camps become available, it'll be off to the camps you go. Now, here in the United States, what's stopping them from doing something similar? She's already talking about, again, a plan to re-educate. And I'm saying re-educate because, like I said, you have hundreds of thousands of individuals who are willing to risk their livelihoods, their careers, their jobs, their retirement, their pensions, to not get this jab. This means a lot to them. They've done their research. So for you to try to change their mind, you're going to need some re-education process. We already saw them try to do something like this with Nicki Minaj when they wanted to bring her to the White House to educate her in the hopes that she would change her tune and start dancing to the drum. So it's crazy out there. You definitely got to stay a peep to what's going on, what they're doing, and be ready and prepared to strike and or make counter moves. The battle is doing really, really well, however, I believe. So hold strong. We see what's going on with these police and firemen making big moves across the country, not just in Chicago, not just in Seattle, but recently there was a big march in the movement in Brooklyn. If you lose Brooklyn on this issue, you're really screwed. And we saw a big demonstration of the fire department there in New York City, as well as numerous of cops all standing in solidarity against this mandate. We're seeing it in the airlines, which we saw already. Southwest CEO Ben, to some extent, but he hasn't confirmed or committed anything to writing. But despite the mandate going on throughout Southwest, he said, you know what, we're going to do our best not to fire anyone over this. And so they may now put back on the table regular testing at a point where it didn't seem to be an option before. We're hearing it with Delta. We're seeing it across the table with a lot of these industries and businesses. You do have the power. You got to stand up and unite and own your power. And if more people push back, you don't even need the majority. You don't need half. Like we saw with Southwest, all you need is a good fraction of a united front to make major waves, and this could stop. This could be put to rest. You see a lot of politicians also trying to pause a little bit on their position, as well as a lot of companies getting more and more bold and standing up against the bullying tactics, i.e. In-N-Out Burger, go freedom fries. So that's my video. I want to know what you think regarding her comment. Do you think it's a little bit of paranoia? Do you think it's a little crazy? Or is it a possibility that we can be marching down a very dangerous road? Because one of my concerns too is we're seeing a lot of dangerous moves just in social media as we speak since the start of the pandemic. A lot of control over what information you're allowed to see, what information you're allowed to talk about. You can't even give your opinion and your thoughts if it goes against the narrative without getting hit for a community strike here on YouTube, even though you may never say anything that's hateful, harmful, illegal, just your thoughts, your opinions on something. And the same things happening on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They're using all of this as an excuse to control what you hear, what you see, what can be discussed in the new public forum or public square. So they're already trying to control the perspective. And for those who are not following in line, you need more re-education. And we're seeing a lot of countries becoming more and more like China. Shout out to the re-education camps or concentration camps they currently have, not just for the Uyghurs, but for the Muslim populations in China. Who would have thought Australia, the land of the outback, and Crocodile Dundee would become China 2.0? What's really stopping the United States from taking even further steps down that path? But I want to know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If you agree with some of the concerns regarding what Rochelle Walensky said as it pertains to educating them and counseling them. A lot of companies encourage their employees to show proof of their jab, even though it may not be required. So there is a list, and it's nothing stopping them from going to your door to educate you. I want to know your thoughts. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video. This is Bruce the Boss, and I'm out. Peace.